All right, my friends, how are you doing today? Aaron here bringing you some honest astrology about this full moon we're having in Gemini on the 15th of December 2024. So, of course, the moon is in Gemini. Gemini, the third house of the zodiac, is about communications, about information. The first six houses of the zodiac is primarily about me, my, and I. Aries, of course, about self, and Taurus about my possessions, my things. Gemini is about my information, my mind, my communication. Cancer is about my emotions, of course, the moon itself. Leo is about my creative flair and expression, how I walk and talk, how I dress, my style, my ego's expression to the outside world. And then the sixth house, Virgo, of course, is going to be about my acts of services and how I'm using my skill set, my resources, my communication skills, my emotions, my ego, my flair, my expression to give back to humanity. Okay, so the first six houses is about me, myself, and my relationship. And then, of course, 7 through 12, this is Libra, right? This is my relationships between other people. And then if we're, let's go to the chart and check it out. So, self, other people, relationships with other people, all kinds of partnerships. So this is, of course, where the South Node has been. We've been talking about this now for the past year and a half. Taurus, this is about my material possessions, my things. This would be shared resources. Gemini here is about my information. This is collective information, where the sun is right now, and Mercury, which is stationed direct. Okay, we're ending our Mercury retrograde and about to go direct, which is great. We need forward momentum. And Sagittarius is higher information, higher knowledge, higher communication, philosophy, religion, theories. Okay, this is, you have to travel outside of self to get this knowledge. You have to travel outside of your comfort zone in order to receive this knowledge. You have to travel outside of your environment. You have to, it's like we all have a confirmation bias. Like I can only see the world through the eyes of a white 40-year-old, almost 42. My birthday is the 29th of December. Thanks for the birthday wishes. But you know what I mean? I can only see the world through my eyes, through an individual who's grown up here in Metro Detroit, in the United States of America, who works in the film industry and holistics and all that stuff. Right? For me to understand what it's like to be a woman living in India, I'd have to either travel to India or make those connections to sit down and ask and learn and observe somebody else's lifestyle in which I have no clue on how they live, the challenges they've gone through, right? I can only know my challenges that I've gone through unless I seek out and look at other individuals and other people's experiences. So where the sun is our point of illumination, where we're illuminating from, is a point of travel, a point of exploration and expansion, learning about the world, learning about other people's experiences, learning about other people's perspectives, learning about other people's struggles, learning about other people's victories, other people's hard times, okay? And I haven't been doing this channel for a couple of months, and it's really strange. Like, it feels weird. All right, friends, like, it felt really weird to get to receive such a strong message back in like 2016 to make these videos. This is during an ayahuasca ceremony. I'm like, what videos do you want me to make? And the medicine just kind of like kicking me in the gut and purging. And it's like, oh, okay, so it's like, and then it's like, okay, make these astrology videos, and then there was this goal of 1,000 videos in 1,000 days, and I think we passed that. I think we did 1,100, something like this, and then it's been tapered a little over the time, and the past couple of months has been a little bit challenging to sit down here and to try to talk about the astrological messages that I'm receiving, or astrologers that we are receiving from the heavens, from the planets themselves. It's like the world is in this weird phase right now. And it's like we've been through these elections, and friends, this is all about our minds, okay? This is all about our minds. We have to have a clear vision of our minds. We have to have a clear vision of ourselves. We can't allow other people to manipulate us. And I felt like I personally needed to focus here as well on my North Node, or this North Node in Aries, and Chiron and Aries here, and just do some my own internal healing, my own internal focusing, and where is my arrow pointing north, right? Where does what is my north for me as an individual? Okay, and this, of course, is going to relate to you as an individual. When we're blocking out the outside world, it's been so noisy, friends. With this stuff, with the election, it's been so noisy. And I think I'm going to state this until I'm blue in the face, or until the day that I die. Okay? If we are wishing harm on somebody else, it's drinking poison expecting them to die. And I can't express how many of my friends, my peers, my friends on social media, people that I work with, that I run into, they really despise where we're at politically, and they hate so much somebody that they don't really know, that they want bad things to happen to them, and their life is miserable. They're living in misery because of what other people are doing in the world. And I think this is very fascinating. This is a very fascinating way to, like, I want you to experience pain, so I'm going to drink this poison. It's not right. You know what I mean? Like, we have to figure out how to navigate back to what is north for us. Like, our north, meaning like the direction we're headed in our lives, our life purpose. When I'm saying north, it's like our life purpose. I had to mute out everybody, kind of stop doing this for a couple months, even though I really wanted to. There was some stuff that happened in last month's full moon that was conjunct Uranus that I really wanted to talk about, but I still needed to give myself some time. So it's like, maybe give yourself some time right now, if that's what you need. Give yourself some time. Observe something else. Observe another person's struggles. Observe another perspective. Throughout my history personally of my life, I always never sure where I landed politically. You know, people say, "Oh, Aaron, you're very liberal. You know, you're rebellious, or you're the way that you think, or the way that you're very liberal. You're not very conservative." I say, yeah, okay, whatever. So other people have kind of told me, well, how they find me politically. And in the past couple of months, I've never found myself to be more empowered as a true independent, not left and not right, but to sit here and be an observer in the world and observe what's going on around me. And because we're dealing with Mercury in the moon in Gemini, we're dealing with Jupiter in Gemini, we've got Mercury in Sagittarius, we've got the sun in Sagittarius. This is about our minds. This is all about our minds. And then, of course, with the North Node in Aries and the South Node in Libra and its final couple of months here, this is about the journey of yourself and your mind. And it's like, well, we know for a fact that worrying is a waste of time. If you're worrying about something, you're putting out the fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and you're creating that fear, uncertainty, and doubt, and it's rippling through your mind and playing an effect on your emotions. And you're most likely you're thinking about the worst case scenario, right? You're thinking about the worst case scenario for self. It's like, okay, this is the worst possible outcome that I don't want to reach, I don't want to experience. So if I just focus on that and what I don't want, it's like, well, that's the opposite of how the world works. It's not the opposite of how the universe works. You focus on that of what you want, and the universe lines it up for you. And oftentimes when we're doing this, our powers of manifestation, we say, this is what I want, this is what I desire, and then the universe gives us little tests, little, like, opportunities. It's just like, this isn't quite what you want, but I'm going to test you. And then you're like, oh, this isn't the thing. I'm going to give up on this manifestation. I'm going to give up on this journey north to receive that which I desire, and I'm going to kind of like kick dirt over. Or I've watered this plant and it's not bearing fruit, so I'm going to stop watering it. It's like, okay, well, the grand genie of the universe, your wish is my command. You don't think it's going to work, it's not going to work. So we know that this fear, uncertainty, doubt, this anxiety, this ripples through us. And a thought is a frequency. A frequency doesn't stop in our brains. Just like if there was a car driving by right now with a big subwoofer, those frequencies don't stop in the back of the trunk of the car, right? Those frequencies resonate beyond the trunk, beyond the car itself. Those vibrations resonate through the street, through the airwaves, the air pressure, through the brick wall of my house, and I can feel and hear those vibrations in here. Well, our thoughts are the same. You're going to think a thought. If you think happy thoughts, you fly like Peter Pan. You think bad, negative thoughts, we're grounded, right? We can't fly anymore. We're stuck. So when we're thinking positive thoughts, we are uplifting, we're freeing. When we're thinking negative thoughts, we're grounding ourselves. In either way, we're solidifying a concept, we're solidifying an idea in our minds, planting a seed that this is reality, that this is consciousness, that this is how it's going to be. And we have the opportunity at every moment to kind of turn those thoughts around. And there's never a better time to monitor our thoughts right now and to think for ourselves and to simply ask people, what is it like living in your shoes? What is it like on the other side of the street? What is it like to be this, to be that, right? So even though we know for a fact that worrying is a waste of time, it doesn't stop people from doing it. We could have thousands of books about worrying is a waste of time, but it won't stop people from doing it. So we know for a fact that wishing harm upon somebody else is drinking poison, wishing that they are going to die, but we're still drinking the poison. We're still holding these thoughts. We're still planting these thoughts, these seeds in our mind, and saying, we wish this was the outcome instead. We wish this is happening instead. Like, we have to take responsibility over our mind right now. We're spirit, right? We're spirit. We're fire. And we're all the elements, really. But we're earth, our bodies, spirit is fire, and water is our blood, air is our breath. So we, in a sense, I'm going to come back to the chart here, are expanding our minds. We're expanding beyond what we think we're capable of doing. And we cannot ignore these septiles that are going around this chart. And I almost want to delete everything here so you can see that we have this beautiful fire trine. Okay, Mars is about to retrograde here in Leo, connecting with Mercury coming out of retrograde in Sagittarius, connecting with the North Node. Okay, friends, Mars in Leo, let's talk about this. Again, Leo is about your creative expression and how you go throughout this world. And we need you to express yourself fully. We need you to express yourself and think about the deeper philosophies of life, the deeper aspects of life, the higher religion, higher education, higher entertainment. We need your mind to be ready to explore. And you're doing this not only for yourself, but you're doing it for others. Okay? So with this particular fire trine that's going on here, this is extremely potent right now. And the more that you're spending time complaining about how somebody else is living life, the more that you're distracting yourself from what you should be doing. Right? It's almost kind of simple. You need to be doing what you're doing. This is something I've stated a long time on this channel. If you're a farmer in Idaho and you got a potato farm and somebody else, this is what's going on. This is literally what's happening on a global scale right now. It's saying, hey, you farmer over there, you should be paying attention to my wants, my needs, and my things. Because over here in where I'm from, we've had terrible fires, and all the fires have put out all of our crops, and you need to stop working on your crops so you can focus on my crops, because that's what I need. This is you have to focus on what you need in your life. And the universe is simply helping you out along the way. And this is about a huge amount of transformation. I'm going to show you this here. Bear with me as I cancel. Wrong part. Here we go. Conjunctions. Nope. Opposites. Trines. Squares. Sextiles. Let's keep sextiles. Semi-squares. Quincunx. Let's keep those. Let's get rid of that. Quintile, biquintile. Okay. Let's check this chart out now. All right. That is freaking beautiful. Guys, that is so beautiful. Okay, so these purple lines here between Black Moon Lilith and Mercury. Black Moon Lilith, I've read a lot of different stuff about Black Moon Lilith, and I can't help but say that I disagree wholeheartedly with this the empowering feminine aspect of Black Moon Lilith. It's just simply not what it is when you look at the mythology, when you look at what this represents. It's barbarianism. This is hedonism. This is murdering children. This is not a positive energy, okay? This is I'm going to do my own thing and not care. Lack of empathy toward others, okay? Now, there are some astrologers, there are some people out there that look at this energy and they think it's like divine feminine energy. I can't help but disagree wholeheartedly. And I'm absolutely willing to open and hear other people's perspectives of this, but this is I am not going to listen to anybody else. I'm going to do my own thing, and I'm going to create havoc and wrath anywhere I go, and I will murder babies all the way to receive my joy. Okay, this is me following my joy to whatever I want in life. And now this is 18 degrees opposite Chiron, 19 degrees, and Eris, 24 degrees in Aries. Chiron, of course, is the wounded healer. Okay, now how I'm looking at this, and then this conjunction to Eris as well, which Eris is how you deal with information. This would be the child that is shunned by the city will burn it down to feel its warmth. Okay, this is Kamala didn't win. I will do anything I can to hate on Trump, right-wingers, hatred. Okay, this is what I see. This is just what I see. Again, I'm not left and I'm not right. I just don't care. I've got so much bigger things to do in my life than to really be categorized into a tiny field of left or right. Like, we're just way bigger than that. So me talking about politics is simply as an observer. Okay, but we have this energy of my candidate didn't win, and I need to go on a rampage. And we can even see this with the United Healthcare worker. Okay, I have to talk about this right now. We have to heal ourselves. We have to heal ourselves. Okay, no one's going to come heal you. You have to heal your own mind. Okay, emotional moon, just creating even the connections here, the sextiles and septile. It's kind of over at this point where I'm talking about it right now, but it has been going on Saturday and Sunday to today. Emotional moons, like, change your mind, allow our minds to open up, allow our minds to expand. Jupiter here in Gemini, expand. It's like, we're talking about a young man murdering somebody. It's like, okay, friends, the amount of people that I've seen on the internet, on Facebook, social media, glorifying this person, whether it was the patsy or whatever, it seems to be like there's very different images here on the color of the backpack, the clothes the person was wearing. I'm not entirely sure that we got the right person or not. I don't know. Okay, but what I want to talk about right now is like glorifying this murderer. It's like, we understand that this technology here, we're sitting here looking at the planets through this beautiful program that these wonderfully intelligent human beings have created, the software, these monitors, the computer, the mouse, the microphone, these preamps, the converters, the lights, the home I'm sitting in, the heat that's going on. We're we're animals, but we're not barbarians. We're not heathens. We can be. Okay, but we've used the crowning achievement of humanity, which is our prefrontal cortex, our prefrontal lobes. It allows us to think, allows us to discern, where we're not just reactionary like apes and monkeys and the rest of the animal kingdom. It's like, we have a system in place that's saying this is how we can go about doing this. Is the system perfect? No, it's not. But the system keeps us from separates the line from the animal kingdom and the human kingdom. Okay, and we really need to pay attention here to how we're conducting ourselves as individuals. I am not for just murdering people. Okay, and I don't think anybody should just be like, hey, this person's did a bad thing, let's just murder them. This isn't cartoons. This isn't the movies. This is real life with. So we have Black Moon Lilith creating a septile to Mercury. We got to think about other people. We got to think about other walks of life. We have to learn. If we're going to be involved in something, like, if we're going to be involved in Israel and Palestine, it's like we got to learn. We got to learn stuff. If you want to be involved in the Ukraine and Russia war, we have to learn. If we want to be involved in American politics, we have to learn about other people. Like we're I don't see the left and the right as enemies. I see people talking about the left and right as if they are enemies and opposite. But it's like we live in the United States anyway. I do, and some of us that are watching this, I know some of us are worldly folks, but so I apologize to my worldly friends if you're talking too much about American politics, but it's extremely important for the people in our land here and where we're at in our mentality in talking about this stuff, that we're giving ourselves space, time, that we're meditating, we're creating this space for our minds, creating the space in our hearts, and saying, well, what is north for me? What is home for me? And it's not complaining about how other people are living. It's just not. We can be, it's like we're judgmental individuals. You can look at an individual who is anorexic and think there's something wrong with them. You can look at a person who's obese and say there's something wrong with them. You can look at a person who's, maybe covered in tattoos, and you could think, we judge. Now, I'm not saying there's anything wrong with these people. What I'm saying is we as individuals judge. Okay, we do this to say, how do I want to live my life? Do I want to go, oh, look at that person. They did so many drugs chasing a feeling that they're no longer sociable. We're not hating on people using drugs, but we look at other people and say, how do I want to live my life? And we get to observe the mirrors that everyone's holding up of, this is how I'm doing. This is how I'm being a human. This is how I'm being a human. This is what I value as being a human. And right now we have this communication where it's like, it's cool to complain. It's cool to, how cool can you complain? You get a banana sticker, you get a little star. You're the coolest complainer in our group. You love complaining about everything and you do it so cool. You're so popular. You're just awesome with the way you complain. And it's like, it's kind of silly. So this Mercury here making this septile. A septile is a seventh harmonic. This meaning this is a gift from God, if you will, a gift from the Creator, a gift from Source energy, saying, look, friends, look at how your minds are operating, and put yourself in this. Expand your mind, explore your mind. Don't be vengeful and hateful. And once the child burns the city down to feel its warmth, that child is alone. And it's very lonely up top. All right, so now we have Mercury creating a septile to Pluto. Okay, this is huge. About transformation. This is an Aquarius. Okay, now Aquarius is about technology. It's about community. Okay, so through technology and through the community, we have this opportunity to expand our minds and move beyond barbarianism, move beyond hedonism, move beyond wrath. For some reason, I watched the movie Seven at like 2 a.m. I couldn't sleep, and I was just like, I'm going to watch Seven. You guys remember that movie? Kevin Spacey, Brad Pitt? Anyway, wrath, right? Vengeful, become vengeance, become wrath. So we have this opportunity to transform how we're viewing other people. And we don't need to view other people as enemies. We need to view other people as just versions of ourselves. We're all God experiencing, God experiencing itself through your eyes. God experiencing itself through my eyes. God experiencing itself through all the humans. All right? Now we have Pluto creating a sextile over here to Neptune. Dreams. Okay? What do you dream? What kind of world are you dreaming of creating? What kind of community are you dreaming of creating? Well, we have to focus on that of which we desire and that of which we want to create the community that we desire, right? So if I said, hey everybody, Mother Teresa said, I will go to any pro-peace rally, but I'm never going to go to an anti-war rally. When we're moving toward anti, this is, I don't want this, I don't want this. When we're saying I want a pro-peace rally, this is what I want and desire. Okay, so it's very easy to manifest and align ourselves, align our hearts, our direction of our north, align our minds with that of which we want and desire. So when we're looking at the world, when we're looking at other people, when we're looking at groups, when we're looking at left, right, whatever, and we're saying, no, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. No, that's not what I want. The positive aspect of saying, no, that's not what I want, is it creates a defined concept of that of which you do want, right? No, I don't want this. So that means I want this. So we have to shift our focus. Okay, we have to transform our focus. We have to transform our minds. Shift our minds from that which we do not want to that which we do want. And when we align ourselves and put our minds, instead of saying like, oh, I hate, this person or that person or this thing or this is what's going on. It's like, again, we're only going to see more of that in life. We're going to manifest more of that in life. The more that we understand these things and say, okay, shift to that which I do desire, again, the more we're going to simply align these things up. And the universe always is going to respond. Your wish is my command. Okay? So it's like, what kind of world are you dreaming of? And are we being, when we're talking about Neptune, we're talking about disillusionment. And there's a lot more I want to talk about with disillusionment, but I don't think I want to do it in this video. Otherwise, it's going to be way too long. We have Venus here creating a septile over to the North Node. Okay, Venus in technology, in community. This is everything you love, want, and desire in life. Okay, a love for transformation, a love for change in your community, a love for change in how we operate, right? We've seen absolutely wild breakthroughs, absolute breakthroughs. Hold on a second, let me see. Is that Venus or is that Pluto? Let me get rid of Venus here. Bye-bye, Venus. Yeah, that was Venus. Okay. So it's like an absolute breakthrough in what we love, want, and desire in life. As you see here, let's bring this back in. Now watch when Venus comes in 9 degrees, creating this septile to Uranus at 24 degrees. Okay? There we go. Boom. This is a breakthrough. Friends, this is huge breakthroughs. Huge breakthroughs. And when we're looking at Uranus here in Taurus, sure, this can be about patriarchy. This can be about conceptualizing the foundations of our society in a certain sense. Pluto's out of Capricorn, and that deals with a lot of our government stuff. To me, let's talk about that for a quick second here. When Pluto went back into Capricorn, and Capricorn, of course, is how we govern ourselves, and Pluto being about transformation, and it heading into Aquarius here about technology, a huge part of this was governing how we do AI and how we work with artificial intelligence. And we really needed to make sure here with Pluto coming back into Capricorn that we're governing ourselves properly and we're not letting the technology run rampant. It's extremely important. So Venus here, creating this north node, septile to the north node, creating a biseptile dotted line down here to Uranus. Uranus creating the septile to the north node. This is breakthroughs in life. This is breakthroughs in how we live our life, breakthroughs in how we connect with the community, with other people. And again, if we're focusing on that which we do not want, we're going to find more people in our community that are not lining which we do want. Okay, so again, this is a huge mental game today, the next couple of weeks and leading into the solstice here in the end of the year in Capricorn season. Uranus also creating this quintile over here to Black Moon Lilith. Black Moon Lilith creating a quintile over here to Saturn. Saturn creating a quintile here to Mars in Leo. Mars quintile to Black Moon Lilith, and Mars quintile to Uranus. Okay, so we have Saturn, the authoritarian, Black Moon Lilith, the wreaking havoc allowing our emotions to get the better of us. You know, if you ever see those videos online where it's just like, and they let their inner thoughts win, you know, like that's this. It's like, yeah, I don't care about your emotions. I don't care about your thoughts. This is going to win. So Saturn in a certain sense is like, hey, yeah, we got to maintain composure here, my friends. Like, though the world is a very illusory here in Pisces, we don't necessarily know what's real and what's not. I'll state, no, that'll be a different video. Like, I got to be mindful of how much, you see, there it is right there. I've got to be mindful of how much we're sharing and what information we're putting out right now. What we're talking about, being mindful, okay? Black Moon Lilith conjunct, or making a septile to Mercury. So like, is it important? You know, if you got nothing good to say, don't say it at all. That's an interesting aspect, but at the same time, sometimes you got to put people in check. You got to challenge other people. You know, so it's like there's interesting aspects here with Saturn, the authoritarian, but it's like, how are we conducting ourselves? How are we conducting our emotions? Saturn creating this quintile down here. How are we communicating? Are we letting the wrath get the best of us, and are we communicating from our wrath? And if so, that's going to change our minds. It's going to change the community of the people that we bring on around us. And then we're going to find ourselves with more complainers, more people that are, yeah, let's hate. Let's get together and hate. Let's get together and hate. Let's get together and talk about all the things we don't like in life. It gets very tricky. It's very, very, very tricky. So right now we're at a place of expansion. We're at a place of communicating, and maybe we're communicating the hard stuff right now. That's another aspect that I really see here with this, is like, by just sweeping conversations that are challenging under the rug, it's just prolonging. You know, so, okay, here we go. Relationships, the South Node, we got a couple months left here, the South Node in Libra and the North Node in Aries. And this is extremely important because you have to live your life. You have to live your life. You're the savior of your own life. No one is coming to save you. No one cares more about you than you, in a respectful, healthy, boundary way. Nobody cares more about your life in your best interests than you. No one's going to be like, I'm going to take my entire life, my entire existence on this planet, and make sure that everybody else feels validated. Like, it's just that's not realistic. So aligning yourself with what, you know, again, your desires and that what you want, and the right people is going to be advantageous at this moment. So if you're in any sort of a relationship, now when you're in an early stages of a relationship, or when you're new to dating, sometimes we don't talk about the hard things. We don't talk about the very deep conversations that are very necessary for the longevity of a real relationship. You know, like, what are your sexual fantasies? What are your sexual desires? What do you need in this department? Okay, what do you need as far as alone time or time together? There's so many questions that are so important for us to communicate with our partners, and we avoid those conversations because they're kind of awkward, or they can be intimidating, you know. And especially if you really like somebody, you can like be intimidated to upset them. You don't want to upset your partner. You don't want to or have a disagreement. You know, you're like, oh, I really like this person, so if I bring these things up right now, you know, are we going to highlight the crevice? Are we going to highlight and bring awareness to the giant gap in our relationship? Right. Well, let's just focus on the sex. Let's just focus on the good times, or getting food and having a beer. You know, it's just like, so if we're skipping over those important communication aspects, and those communication aspects of our mind, of our navigating north for us, this is what I desire and really need in life, to have a healthy relationship. This is what I need and desire to have a healthy work relationship. This is what I need and desire to have a healthy, and it's not just what I need and desire, because again, the sun is in Sagittarius. What do you need and desire to have a healthy relationship? What do you need and desire from me? What do you need and desire from this relationship? What do you need and desire from this partnership, from this job, from this whatever? You know, it's like, what asking somebody else may be the most important thing that we can do with our time right now. Asking somebody else their perspective, asking somebody else how they feel about something. If you're a hard left, ask somebody hard right how they're doing. If you're hard right, ask somebody hard left how they're doing. You know, it's like these aren't enemies, especially again in America, we live in a democratic republic. So like we are Democrats and Republicans. We're both. So to be like, I'm only this. And if you're not on my side, then you're my enemy and you're against me and you're against my beliefs. Like that might not be the reality of it. You might just be telling yourself that because it's easier for you to swallow. It's easier to label somebody something than it is for the hard conversations and hard truths that come up when we communicate with one another. And we all have beating hearts. We all have mouths to feed. We all have a family. We all have a house that we need to heat, or a house that we need AC and to electricity and everything. It's like there's a lot more in common with one another than we have separate with one another. And if we're not having the conversations, we're going to see the differences. When we begin to have these conversations and have the hard talks, the complicated talks. You know, it's like I put out something on Facebook the other day about and this is on Facebook, this is on Instagram and on YouTube. This is primarily been a YouTube channel thing here, but so I put it out about challenging people. It's like if you know, it's like to me, Jesus is the sun. It's a personified allegory of the sun, and the Bible is a book of astrology, keeping a clock and a calendar. Now, I put that stuff out there and I talk about this information and people challenge me on it, as they should, okay? And when somebody puts something out there into the world and is making a claim and saying this is how something is, they get super frustrated, or I observably watch people get super frustrated when anybody says, no, that's not how it really is. Or if they express and challenge their perspective, like, hey, you know, vaccines are, you know, throughout the history of time have saved humanity. And then it's just like, well, somebody say, well, yeah, but the polio vaccine and the COVID vaccine aren't the same vaccines. And then you see people like getting blocked and hated. It's like, no, these are the hard conversations we need to have, friends. Is the polio vaccine and the COVID vaccine the same? Were there boosters for the polio vaccine? Why have we seen more vaccines come out now in the past 20 years than we did before? We are seeing, and we have had nurses come forward talking about vaccines and kids becoming autistic. I have friends that have this happen with them, and their child was looking at the mother in the face, and then they went in for their vaccines, and now the eyes roll around. It's like, oh, we just shut people out. And that's ridiculous. That's nonsense. It's like, we have to have these conversations, guys. And even yet, you know, coming back to here, we have our final couple of months here with Neptune in very illusionary Pisces. And again, from someone that works in the media, I see it all the time. I see the media just destroy narratives. They lie about stuff and pull on people's heartstrings, and it's completely manipulative. So there's so much manipulation. It's just like, are we really believing it? Are we allowing it to affect our emotions? Are we allowing it to affect us? You know, we have to be the authoritarian here. And what is real or what is BS? Okay, if we don't know the answer, and if it's pulling on our heartstrings, somebody's trying to manipulate us. If the answer or what we're seeing or receiving from the media, okay, Pisces media, Father Saturn here is trying to clean it up. Okay, cleaning up our media and are being pulled on these heartstrings and manipulation that's going on. Oh yeah, I didn't even talk about Jupiter here. Septile to Mars. Even furthermore, my friends, even furthermore of like, listen and go your own way. And Mars is about to retrograde here and come back into Cancer. Okay, so it's like going forward in your creative expression and your emotions. We'll talk more about that as it's happening, but it's just like huge opportunities in time. Change our minds, open our hearts a little bit, and really put ourselves in the opposite shoes if we can, and get some perspective from people that live a very different life from us. And this is going to really help us. And the more that we're not focusing on what we don't want, but what we do want is going to help us get through and find the right people to connect with and build the right teams, the right relationships, and not allowing other people to dictate our emotions and sway us. I think that's about it for me today, friends. As always, I love you and I wish you enough. It feels really good to be back here talking about astrology. We're going to be talking about this, to me, this alignment right here as well. Not just for me, but I think we're going to start seeing a lot more people talking about these hard topics and coming out where they were afraid. I was afraid to talk about hard topics, afraid for judgment, afraid for cancel culture, afraid for all kinds of reasons of these hard conversations. I myself am feeling quite liberated with this personal astrology. Oh yeah. Sorry, I have to say this. I've seen people talk about this astrology and the United Healthcare Worker, and that was a sign that the astrology is pointing towards this is going to continue to happen, and Elon Musk is next, and all of this stuff. And I think, again, this is absolutely terrible. It's a terrible mentality, and I can firsthand tell you as an astrologer that's studied this for a very long time, there's nothing here in this chart that's saying we should be murdering people. Nothing. There's nothing here in this chart that says we should be just going out and cold-blooding murdering people that we don't agree with, people that have differences than we do, people that are authoritarians over other elements of our lives, okay? There's nothing in this chart astrologically that's telling us to go do this. Everything in this chart right now is telling us to expand our minds, to explore our minds, and to try and figure out how to congeal together and create community where we've been so dispersed, right? We got to come together. A love for community, a love for people. There's got to be a love for people, and that's got to be driving us, not a hatred for people that's... Anyway, all right. It's a lot out of me today, friends. I love you. I wish you enough, and I'm looking forward to seeing you soon. Have a wonderful full mooning, and I'll talk to you later.